Now, when I decided to retire my 750 Kawasaki, it was a hard decision to make because I had two of them at the time. And what I wanted to do, it was a very long journey too. I wanted to use the one I was using for a track bike, redo all the bodywork, and do a lot of modifications to it. I wanted to make a tail section a little bit custom. I wanted to replace the muffler, among other things. I had a spare exhaust system. I wanted to make a unique fairing for the front where the headlights were down underneath, not in a normal position. I wanted to do a super custom paint job. And since I had used the bike on the track for many years, I knew I loved the bike. I knew I was going to be happy with it. And I knew in the end I was going to have something that I would keep for the rest of my life. And I was right. I was right on the money. Now, we're still in the part of the year where it's really nice out. There's still a few leaves on the trees. It's a little chilly in the morning, and it gets just about perfect around lunchtime or a little after. And I don't want to miss one day of riding during this time of the year, because we know there's a reality. There's a big bad wolf winter coming our way. And what's the first thing we always have to do for every day? Oh, drink coffee, yes. And move motorcycles around so we can get that green Ninja out and ready for the open road. And anytime I ride, the day usually starts off moving motorcycles. We all know that. And doing a pre-flight and doing a weather check, all the mundane things. But what I always try to keep in mind, I try not to ride the same bike over and over. I like to ride a different bike every day if possible. And I always like to be doing a comparison. GS, how much I've enjoyed that bike, 42 years. The Ninja, this one, I have used it for a track bike, used it for a street bike. I've redone it, restored it, repainted it, made custom parts for it. And I really plan on having it the rest of my life. It has suited my needs so well. The reason I like it even more than you think I would is the track bike I had before this bike. I was using my FZR for a track bike for a couple of years, and it's a very fast bike, and it's a handful though. This bike was so much more fun, nimble, just beautiful handling, takes the power nice. It really is, in my estimation, a really great track bike. So just dreaming about the days of the racetrack, it's time to get the birds fed, get the fish fed, and of course the main thing, the number one thing, that final cup of coffee. The pumpkin made me an extra cup of coffee this morning. And get Karen a nice new hydrangea out of the garden, and I'll be ready to get out on the open road. It's always hard for me to explain what exactly I like about this bike that's different than other bikes that I have in my humble collection. One of the things I like, it is a very quick steering bike, very nimble. It's almost effortless to turn it into a turn. Part of it is the small 16-inch front wheel. That was a big vogue thing back in this time. And another thing about it, the way the engine responds to the throttle is very, very, very linear, like a lot of four-cylinder inline, that even firing engines, even the FZR. It has a real nice linear power delivery, very nice, and I love the sound of that Muzzy muffler. All these years later, I'm very surprised that air shock that's in the back is still a really, really good unit. I'm always amazed how that has stood the test of time, along with a lot of things on this bike. And after years of using it as a track bike, bringing it out as a street bike, I already knew all the little idiosyncrasies of the bike, and you can really lean on it. At a rear seat cowl and the tail tidy on this bike, unique, one of a kind. I made from the same mold that I used to make the one for the FCR. I made two of them from one mold. And about the only part of the bike that I think really has is substandard, that anti-dive fork. I've had it in all the different positions. I've had different weight fork oil. It's easier the way I have it, just disconnected. And I've had a lot of different brands of tires on the bike over the years. They are difficult to get because of the size. Sometimes the 16 and 18s are hard to get. But the Pirelli Sport Demons seem to suit my needs perfectly. And because this bike, when you're under full throttle, it really does get loud. It's quiet around town, gets loud at about 3/4 throttle up, and this is a mandatory bike for me to have the radar detector on. In fact, today it saved my bacon big time. And luckily I didn't have the video camera running. But the Valentine always comes to the rescue. I've checked the mileage on the bike, between 45 and 47 on a regular basis. I gotta be happy with that. I gotta think a bike this old and a bike it's coming up on 40,000 miles, that's pretty good. I come up with the paint scheme, I always wanted it to look, and the front fairing part, I wanted it to have the look that Kawasaki might have made it. It might have been a model you could buy off the dealer floor at some time, and the high intensity headlights. And I'm very surprised how well the bodywork has held up. I have two sets of bodywork, red and black, and this color. But there was a lot of repairs, a lot of carbon fiber repairs on that bodywork, and they've held up pretty good. And after many years of using it as a track bike, and now we're probably at least 7 years of using it as a street bike, and the bike has 40,000 miles again, I'm surprised it's still as tight as can be. It doesn't burn any oil. It has no vibration in it anywhere that's at high speeds. I love the fact it doesn't eat up a set of tires every 3,000 miles too. So it's for me, and it's a comfortable riding position with the risers I made. It's perfect for me. Now I'm retired, and my track bike, both of the track bikes, the FCR and this bike, are retired, and we're enjoying our retirement. But as much as I'm enjoying this whole day, in fact, It's time to get back to the farm, back to the bride, and see how she's doing. So this really was a great ride today. The days are getting shorter, it's getting cooler, and I am always trying to take advantage of every day. But every time I ride, I look back and here's the original track bike when we were using it for the track. I thought I'd show some of the things because a lot of people don't appreciate how this bike was abused before I got it and how I abused it on the racetrack for many years. And this is just one of the things when you restore a bike that you really like. Now, what I didn't mind putting in the time and the energy and whatnot, because I knew when I was done I was going to have a bike I really loved. By the way, that's Camaro green in honor of Kent Tyser, and Yamaha blue, the racing blue. And I kind of did a faux copy of a paint job of a plane that I had done in '91 called the Toxic Avenger, and Midgley will know what that is. Anyway, this is a little photo show, and I have thousands of pictures of the restoration of the bike, the engine, doing the work on the frame, the forks, the air shocks, the whole thing. But this is just a quick little photo show of the 500 hours of paint work that went into this bike. And yeah, you're laughing now, you got it for the rest of your life. And as I look back at all of the pictures, all of the things on this bike, it is always a labor of love, no matter what you do. And there's some parts here. I think these are Vlad's parts, those carbon fiber ones. But anyway, at the time we were doing this, we were doing work for Vlad, doing 3-4 bikes at a time. And I made that tail section, did the shaping of it, did it with Bondo. And I was thinking it's going to crack sooner or later. It's never cracked yet. Well, so far so good. Anyway, that was one of the little custom features I wanted to make. Because again, I didn't mind spending all of the time because I knew I really liked the way this bike handled. And I had to fill in pieces with wood. I had to do things with Bondo. The original paint was not in good shape. I had to sand most of it off. It is a total labor of love. Almost all of it is out on the channel if you search the GPX750R restoration. These are all in full-time videos, and they go on and on. I estimated this restoration was about 500 hours total. And all of the striping, all of the painting, all of the sketching. John Pathia helped me with some concept sketches. I wanted to get this to be very, very unique when I was done with it. And again, I wasn't trying to do something and then be done with it real quick and sell the bike 2 years later. When I do these bikes, the bikes that I've restored and they're in my private, humble collection, I'm doing them as if I'm going to keep them forever, because I am. And when I looked at the bike in pieces, John Pathia helped me with the graphics on this. We spent a lot of time on the graphics. It looks like it's very simple when it's done. The white outline, super, super important for this, the look that I wanted for this motorcycle when it was done, and the lettering. And then we decided we wanted the R to be red, and that's a whole nother video. I had 2 seats for the bike. I embroidered them. Here's the original. There was so much Bondo on that. Oh my God, it's amazing. And the original tank. They're just, boy, when you think of a labor of love, just unbelievable amount of stuff. But once you dive into a project like this, the winter goes by very quickly. This went over the course of a whole winter, sanding off the paint that was already on the bike, repriming it, sanding it again several times, and shooting video of everyone. And when I was done with the graphics on this, I really was happy with it. That's a unique, one-of-a-kind logo. I wanted the striping to go around and underneath. I have 2 windshields for this, a tall one and a short one. I wanted to get all of the little bodywork, and there was a lot of Bondo work on that tank. And so far, luckily, it's stayed pretty good. Not always. You can never really guarantee that when you use Bondo. And, of course, everything on this paint job, the whole bike gets painted white first, Once it's painted white, the next step on it is to lay out the striping. And again, this is all on videos. You can search custom paintwork, how the backmasking went on this. And it's pretty complex. It takes forever to go through it. But this was, when I was done with this project, this was a winter I'll never forget. I had the bike up on the lift, and I had oh geez, just every possible little thing you could do to make this bike like a new bike. I replaced a lot of the rubber bushings, a lot of the wiring that was really crappy, the headlights, those high intensity lights. Thank you, John Pothia, finding me the ultra bright LEDs. All of the little steps. There's a million little steps to making a custom motorcycle. And a custom motorcycle, it's totally functional, has the look the factory might have made it, and it's gonna last. It's gonna outlive me. Let's be realistic about it. I'm 79 years old. The bike's got 40,000 miles. It's probably got another 40 or 50,000 before it's going to be in a museum. But I don't. Not at 79 years old. So I hope you did enjoy the video. Hit the like button if you did, please. And thank you everyone for supporting the channel. And most of all, thanks for watching.